Have you ever wondered why Russia, a Eurasian giant, is so interested in the far-off continent of Africa? A question that might seem perplexing to some, but the answer lies intertwined with history, politics, and strategic interests. Underneath the surface of this intrigue lies a tale of historical ties that date back to the Soviet era. It was a time when Russia, then the USSR, was actively involved in Africa, supporting liberation movements and forging alliances. These partnerships were not just political or military. They were also cultural and educational, creating a legacy that still resonates today. But why is this Eurasian power still invested in Africa now, years after the Cold War has ended? What makes Africa so attractive to Russia, and what are the implications of this interest? To understand this complex issue, we need to delve into the past, tracing back to the Cold War era. Stay tuned as we unravel the intricate web of Russia's involvement in Africa. The Cold War era marked the beginning of Russia's interest in Africa. This period, characterized by geopolitical tension between two superpowers, saw Africa become a strategic chessboard. Russia, then known as the Soviet Union, was keen on spreading socialism across the continent, a move designed not only to gain ideological ground, but also to secure allies. Africa, with its vast resources and newly independent nations, presented an attractive prospect. Russia actively courted African nations, offering military assistance to those willing to align with them. This wasn't just about flexing military might, it was a strategic move aimed at gaining a foothold in the region. In addition to military support, Russia extended educational olive branches, offering scholarships to African students. This fostered goodwill and created a generation of Africans with a positive view of Russia. With the end of the Cold War, Russia's involvement in Africa seemed to fade, but it was far from over. Fast forward to the 21st century, Russia's interest in Africa is rekindled. This new era is marked by a noticeable increase in trade, investment, and diplomatic relations. From the northern tip of Morocco to the southernmost point of South Africa, Russia's footprint is becoming more and more evident. The trade between Russia and Africa has grown exponentially, with a focus on areas such as mining, energy, and infrastructure development. This surge isn't just about commerce, it's a strategic move to secure resources and cultivate allies. Russia's investment in Africa is also noteworthy. Russian companies are increasingly venturing into Africa, investing in sectors ranging from telecommunications to agriculture. It's a win-win situation as Russia seeks new markets, and Africa benefits from the influx of capital and technology. But it's not all about money. Diplomatic relations have also been ramped up. Russia has been fostering ties with African countries, strengthening its presence on the continent. The Kremlin's foreign policy statements on Africa have been clear and consistent. Russia views Africa as a strategic partner, a region rich in potential and ripe for mutual cooperation. It's a policy of engagement, not exploitation, focusing on areas of mutual interest and benefit. The renewed interest is a calculated move, a strategic play on Russia's part. Clearly, Russia's involvement in Africa has evolved over the years, but what does it mean for the continent and the rest of the world? Russia's deepening ties with Africa have raised some eyebrows worldwide. It's a development that's stirring up a complex cocktail of implications, not just for Africa, but for the globe at large. On the upside, Africa could benefit from this renewed interest. As Russia pours resources into the continent, the potential for economic growth is palpable. Infrastructure projects, job creation, and investment in various sectors could all be part of the positive fallout. But there's a flip side to this coin. This relationship brings with it the risk of dependency, of Africa becoming too reliant on a single, external power for its development. There's also the concern about potential neo-colonialism, with Russia exerting influence and control over African nations. Beyond Africa, the world watches with a keen eye. Russia's increasing presence in Africa could shift geopolitical power dynamics, adding another layer of complexity to international relations. It's a move that could have ripple effects, influencing alliances and power structures on a global scale. It's a dynamic, complicated situation, a delicate balance of power and influence, of opportunity and risk. It's a dance that Africa, Russia, and the rest of the world are all part of, each player with their own stakes and strategies. While Russia's motives may seem complex, one thing is clear. Africa has become a significant player in Russia's foreign policy. So, what have we learned about Russia's involvement in Africa? From the Cold War era to the present, Russia's interest in Africa has been a fascinating journey. It all began with ideological ties and support during the decolonization period, which laid the foundation for Russia's relationship with Africa. Fast forward to the 21st century, and we see a renewed interest from Russia, driven by a combination of economic, political, and strategic motivations. From arms sales to natural resource exploration, from diplomatic partnerships to infrastructure developments, Russia is making its presence felt across the African continent. The implications of this are wide-ranging. For Africa, it represents a new partner in their development journey, while for the world, it signifies a shift in the global power dynamics. As we continue to watch the global chessboard, it's evident that Russia's moves in Africa are ones to keep an eye on.